friends? I hope you are having a wonderful day today. My name is Luciano, and I make videos where I talk about jump chains, choose your own adventures, different events happening throughout the world, and whatever I feel like talking about. And in today's video, I am going to be taking a look at one of my favorite things, jump chains. Very specifically, we are going to be taking a look at the first of a series of jumps by Reddit user DifferentPresent6, which are all about animals in mythology, culture, and cryptozoology. So all sorts of different takes on different animals throughout the world. The first of these jumps is the Tales of Cats, and we are going to be taking a look at it today. It is a fantastic series. I highly recommend it, and I have written about it before over on Reddit, so I'm very excited to be talking about it in a YouTube video. As you can see, we are now in the actual jump documents. You can go ahead and take a look to your left, and you can see an outline which gives you lots of hints as to the sort of funness we're about to experience. And we can go ahead and read the actual intro text. Welcome to a world of cats. From the small to the gigantic, there are only cats here, and fish. Cat, of course. Everything here, from the architecture to the other animals, is a cat theme, and the various tales about cats are true and are happening now and over the 10 years you'll be here. Take 1,000 chat points to fund your cat adventures, and then a little artwork of a cat. For your starting location, you roll a 1d6 to determine where you start, or you can pay 100 choice points to choose your starting location from this list. It's worth noting that there's a couple of unusual options here. Number 3, Mouse Hole, gives you a perk for free if you help deal with the story beats that spawning here causes you to experience. Or if you choose the Good Cat Origin, all of the origins of which in this particular jump are free, you get an additional 100 choice points. While that is the only little reward that is a direct choice point buff or perk buff in this jump, that is not the only little reward that you can get. Free Pick also has the ability to reward you at the end of the jump, depending on the sort of option that you choose. And in future jumps in this particular set of jumps, there are other starting locations that give you little rewards or little buffs for either choosing them after paying choice points to do so, or for your efforts in getting lucky and that kind of thing, and simply rolling them. So, age and gender, you can freely choose your own age or gender. There are 3 origins. There is drop-in, good cat, and bad cats, while the other jumps in this particular set won't really follow this good, bad, drop-in style, and will instead be like a drop-in, a more mythic focused origin, and then a more cryptid focused origin. This is a very neat way of deciding how things work. All of these origins are free. The thing that isn't free are your actual racial options. So this is what determines your default form for this jump. As a reminder, your other forms are still available as alt forms. While different people rule alt forms differently, generally speaking, when you go to a jump and you get a new racial option, a new species that you can use in that jump, typically that will stay with you in future jumps, and with a moment's concentration and a few seconds, you can change your form to match one of your forms from your other jumps. There are lots of different perks in this set of jumps that give you unique modifiers or give you unique forms, so it's definitely worth paying attention to this section. The first option is a just regular small cat that can talk. If you want to be just a regular sized cat, like a tabby cat, like a regular small cat, that gives you an additional set of points that you can use, operating as a sort of, it's something vaguely similar to a drawback, though it isn't really a drawback. You can still talk, you can still do a lot of stuff, but you are just a regular cat. That said, if you want to be a panther, jaguar, or tiger, or lion, you do not get the additional points that this offers you, and instead it's just free. It doesn't cost you anything, but it also doesn't reward you just for being a small cat. An anthropomorphic cat is a cat that can stand on its hind legs, and is generally the size of an adult human. It's worth noting that the flavor text here seems to suggest that there are no humans in this particular jump, which is probably true. It seems like the intention is that any would-be humans are actually not necessarily girls, but are cat humans. So they are humans with cat features, that kind of thing. That origin is free. That can allow you to be a tiny cat girl or tiny cat boy the size of a small cat, or a human-sized cat person, human-sized cat man, cat woman. That would be that option. Supernatural cats allows you to be a cat from some sort of mythology. You will have that as your base form for this jump. So if you choose the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, then that will be your default form. It's worth noting that that has an associated perk that is available as a purchasable thing in this particular jump, but that's just an example. If you choose that and you pay the starting cost, then you get its powers and weaknesses. And if it has a perk associated with it, then you can take that perk for free. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual perks. So this is the general section. So all of these perks are available for all origins. There's no mutual exclusivity things. And in this jump, there won't be, in this jump and in these jumps in general, there aren't any mutually exclusivity things here. All of these perks are undiscounted and they're very handy. The first one is a cute eyes perk, which is available for free. It makes you cute and you know how to use that to your advantage. Then there is a perk that is a word that I do not know how to pronounce, threanthropy. There are going to be words if I do the rest of this jump and in other jumps that I am just going to be doing my best to pronounce, but this particular perk allows you to transform yourself into a cat, or if you are a cat, into a cat girl or anthropomorphic cat. That kind of thing. It costs 100 points. The next 100 points perk is a cat always lands on its feet, and it allows you to jump from any height and land on your paws without injury. Next one, fast as a cheetah. First one that doesn't cost 100 points or is free, and allows you to be an incredibly fast cat, allowing you to be fast enough to catch laser pointers and even do stuff like eat up all the available salmon. The enormous speed that this perk gives you is limited to short distances, just like the cheetah. You are a sprinter, you are not an endurance runner. What? Old Tim is dead? Then I'm the king of cats is a perk that allows you to be a cat and be a king and be the rightful master of the land, which will give you the ability to wield selective artifacts and other things that require bloodlines. Cute Little Squatter is the first 400 choice point perk in this particular jump, and it makes it so that you can do the cat thing of entering a new space, claiming it yourself, and be accepted by the people who live there. I assume this is strongest in a world where there are humans or humanoids and you are just in your cat form, but this text does not have any sort of limitation like that. So I assume you can use it in any of your forms so long as you aren't a terrifying or hideous monster, that kind of thing. One of the first really odd perks in this jump and in this set of jumps is 9 lives. This makes it so that you have 9 lives which recharge with each jump, and you're immune to the power of instant death. You're also very good at surviving environmental damage, whether it is gravity or fire, and it costs 900 choice points. So you're going to see a lot of very peculiar perks in this set of jumps, and I mean this lovingly, because this jump and this set of jumps is focused on really making sure that you can grab as much cat and or animal stuff as you really want in a single go. So you're going to see a lot of odd prices and a lot of very powerful perks, which is part of the reason why I really like this. Different Presents is seriously attached to the idea of making sure that you get the full experience of being even mythical versions of the different sorts of creatures that you want to become, of the different options that are available in these sets of jumps. So be ready for that kind of thing. thing. We're now in the drop-in origin line of perks, the drop-in origin perk tree. Remember that this is a place that if you took the drop-in origin, these perks are discounted for you, being half off. 100 choice point perks are free. Really Small Kitty is the first one. This allows you to fit into any hole, even though it is smaller than you. You can fit through a door lock or a mouse hole without any problem, and you can miniaturize yourself. An incredibly powerful, incredibly handy perk in the right circumstances. It may not always be the right circumstances for this perk, but in any world where there are not things like electronic locks and keys are a powerful thing, then you are golden with this perk. This thing will pay itself off even if you don't get it for free very fast. Stealthy Kitty, which is free for drop-ins, allows you to be supernaturally stealthy and easily blend into the background, especially if you're standing still. Your stealth coupled with your feline agility will make it much harder for people to touch you, let alone catch you. This is another perk that I am going to struggle to pronounce, Matagot. Also known as the Chats d'Argent. This is a perk that is very unusual. I'm assuming this is a reference to an urban legend or some sort of mythology. This allows you to make sure that you seem to always win, or at least win back any gold that you wager, and allows you to even find gold coins on your nightly strolls when you're just wandering around. The next perk is the Tiger Zodiac perk, and this gives you the powers of the Tiger of the Chinese Zodiac, including a mastery of the wood element in a form of magic in Chinese mythology, as well as a good understanding of that type of magic. The Fog Comes on Little Cat Feet is the next perk. It is also 200 choice points. It allows you to create mist, but by default it will look like a cat when you invoke it, and in this mist you will appear indistinguishable. So people who see you in the mist will just not be able to identify you from a distance until you get very close to them. Very handy, very quirky perk, but when you need it, it can come in real clutch. Cat's Bayan is a perk that allows you to cure illnesses with your voice and even put people to sleep. That said, if those who can't fight back, you could swallow them and eat them up. I'm assuming that this is another urban legend cat. This feels like something that you might hear of in the Louisiana region. That's what it feels like to me. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't really want to focus so much on being super precise in this kind of thing. I really just want to use this video as a chance to help you guys learn some cool stuff and also see a really cool just cat base jump. Neon Cat is the second 400 choice point perk for drop-ins. It's a very strange cat that you are able to become. You are half cat, half toast, and you can travel through the vacuum of space, followed by a rainbow. I feel like in some jumps this would be incredibly powerful, and in other jumps this would just be a very odd novelty ability that you have just because you like the Neon Cats. The Cheshire Cats is the next one. It is the final 400 choice points drop-in perk, and this cat is a cat that can appear and disappear at will and make itself invisible, which frankly, with just a cat's default stuff, is terrifying. Great Storm Cat is the first 600 choice point perk. It allows you to become the personification of the storms that have battered Mousehole, and you are able to have enormous power over the wind and control the weather with ease. Schrodinger's cat, which is a reference to the thought experiment, allows you to, if you are in a box or a closed room and you are not being watched, become immortal, and as long as the above conditions are met, you can be in two places at once. Now we are in the Good Kitty origin. Now in the Good Cat origin, we're starting off with two free perks, Heroic Kitty and Lovely Purr. Heroic Kitty makes it so that you have a natural advantage against evil, and if you use supposedly evil powers to do good things, they will gradually become good powers and people will be kind to you for using them. Better still, you'll be able to inspire others to do the same, which allows you to gradually reform evildoers, provided you have peaceful interactions with them, or at least interactions with them that don't end fatally. And then Lovely Purr is a perk that makes it so that your purr sounds like a melody and brings happiness to people, even allowing you and others to hear it to heal faster. Maneki Neko is a perk that brings prosperity and good fortune to yourself and your friends. There's going to be lots of names that if we do full videos on these series of jumps, I will definitely not be able to pronounce, so I am going to be doing my best. That said, I am not always good at pronouncing words, so I apologize if I mispronounce any words, whether it was what I just said or perks in the future. Keeper of the Harvest makes it so that you are a protector of the harvest, giving you an advantage when it comes to hunting down rodents and vermin that would ruin crops, and allowing you to eat symbolic rodents that represent a wide range of maladies that might negatively affect a harvest. These taste especially good, and when you do this, you greatly improve the prosperity of the fields you're watching over. King of the Hucksters is the first 400 choice point perk in this origin. This allows you to be like Puss in Boots, matching your cunning and your intelligence, and giving you political skills that can be played off against a king of cats, and making it so that your hunting skills are enhanced. This is just an overall skill booster. Very handy, very strong. Ship's Cat makes it so that you are a ship's cat, which allows you to know how to steer a ship to a supernatural level, and causes your mere presence to protect it and its crew from misfortune. You can even predict the weather and calm storms, just like Meowser does with your meowing. What's more, you're probably a cousin of Oscar's, as you're unsinkable. Whatever happens when your ship sinks or you find yourself on the water, you'll be perfectly fine. These are references to something that I don't understand, but that is what the text says, and I wanted to make sure that we all got the full gist of the perk. Nara Simha is a perk that allows you to overcome things that should be invincible to all but the most far-fetched things. With this perk, all of the prophecies could take the trouble to add that something that is otherwise unbeatable can be defeated by Jumper. The easiest way for me to explain this perk is that it allows you to do the thing that makes you in prophecies, like when the Voldemort prophecy in Harry Potter as to how Voldemort can only be killed by one person. Now Voldemort can be killed by two people. That kind of thing. Egyptian Cat makes it so that you are a god kitty linked to the sun. This will give you stronger affinity with the sun, allowing you to use solar-related powers, and also make you a symbol of protection, and give you healing powers against poison. All of your attacks will have an advantage against snakes, even more so if you're fighting a god snake or something similar to that. The Cats of Ulathar is another 600 choice point perk. I have no idea how to pronounce that word, but I did my best. This will make you similar to the Cats of Dreamland, allowing you to travel in and out of Dreamland and giving you a strong affinity for the supernatural. You also know things so ancient that even the Sphinxes have forgotten them. You're able to fly to the moon without being hindered by all the problems that entails, and you can transfer this power to all of your cats, adding them to armies who can act so synchronized that as if you had a hive mind at your command. Once per jump in a desperate situation, the cat's familiar meow will sound, and an army of cats of immense power will come to help you. Byakko is the final perk for this particular origin. It makes it so that you're the White Tiger of the West and gives you powers linked to metal, wind, and autumn. You'll also gain great mastery of the principles of astrology, feng shui, and Taoism, and you gain an advantage when you're in the West. The next origin is the final origin for this jump, Bad Cats. So as you can see here, there are another 2 free perks. I'm assuming Black Cat is intended to say free because all of the other ones have had all 100 choice point perks available for free. So I'm just going to mentally autocorrect to that. Devil's Little Minion makes it so that your bite is poisonous and your breath can make people who breathe it sick, giving them tuberculosis or the bubonic plague or some other disease. Black Cat, it makes you a bad luck giver. You can bring misfortune to the people watching you and can have a lot of fun with the improbable fails and other pranks you will play on them. The first perk that costs points, if this is your origin, is Cat Sith. This makes you the king of cats, and you can steal the souls of the dead by walking over the body of a recently deceased person. What you could do with this soul is really up to you. You could use it as a new toy, you could use it as a bargaining chip, all kinds of mischief if you really want to. Acoustic Kitty makes you a cyborg spy cat and a legendary spy. Also equipping you with a set of gadgets to help you achieve your various objectives. Chimera is the next perk. It is the first 400 choice point perk. This allows you to merge alt forms to become, for example, a cat with a taste for birds that is a little too pronounced, such as a griffin, so a cat with bird wings. And you can choose to combine any number of features to create your own interpretation of the Chimera. This is a very handy, very interesting perk. Alt form mergers are not super uncommon, but it's always nice to find them because you can use them in a lot of really clever ways if you have a lot of alt forms at your disposal. Witch Cat is the next perk. It makes it so that you are a witch cat, you know magic, you can fly on brooms, create potions and other ointments, and you can cast curses that damage crops. Your knowledge also makes you a very good magic teacher. This is a very fascinating perk. This effectively makes you a familiar, like a witch's familiar. Just a fun thing to have. We are now going to see something a little interesting. There is only one 600 choice point perk for this particular origin, and there is an 800 choice point perk for it as well. Nemean Lion makes it so that your fur is impenetrable, but also golden if you want it to be, and your claws can ignore the resistance of things, so you'll be able to destroy furniture and sofas even faster. That particular section is worth studying. The ability of your claws to ignore the resistance of things makes it so that your claws can be an utterly devastating attack. It is worth noting that this text does not have limits, so you can interpret it pretty much however you want. There is just a lot of very interesting stuff that you could do with that. One interesting idea is that you could use this as an attack that ignores stuff like magical shields and mage's armor and can destroy supposedly impenetrable things. Just something to keep in mind. Chakla is the capstone perk for this particular origin. It costs 800 choice points undiscounted and makes you a forbidden cat and causes petting you to be deadly, as you can kill by touch. You can also control this power, and you can control it in ways that make it more deadly. You can destroy people who just see you, and hopefully for them, all you want is to cuddle. This, I assume, is a reference to something specific, probably some sort of mythological cat, but it is very powerful. It is, in terms of its immediate potential and power, probably the single strongest perk in this jump, aside from 9 lives. Very handy. I can see why it costs as much as it does. Just a very fun ability to keep in mind if you decide to go ahead and grab it. We are now going to go ahead and take a look at the items. We are looking at the items section. There are no undiscounted items in this particular jump. I do not recall off the top of my head if that is the case in every single one of these jumps, though it may well be. We are starting off with the drop-in origin. The drop-in origin has 3 free items. It has Chester, milk, and new clothes. Chester is a supply of delicious Cheshire cheese in the shape of a Cheshire cat. You get a new one at every meal, so every single time you eat, you will be given a block of cheese in the shape of a cat that is apparently delicious tasting, and it's just really handy, free for drop-in items that subtly enhances the quality of your food. Milk gives you an unlimited supply of milk and cream, both of which are supernaturally delicious, so you do have to be careful to not eat too much of it. Another meal enhancer thing. New clothes gives you, every year you'll get a new pile of clothes to keep Yule's cat away and to spend a good nap in a pile of soft clothes. This is, I assume, something related to the mythology of Yule and Yuletide. something potentially very interesting for people to look into. I'm assuming that there are a ton of mythological references here that I don't understand, unfortunately. I know more about mythology than a lot of people from the place that I live in and the places I've lived in, and there's still a bunch of references here that have just gone completely over my head, so I really appreciate the research and the passion that different presents put into this jump to make it so that even I am just surprised at some of the stuff that I'm learning about in these particular jumps. Schrodinger's cat box is a box that is identical to the one used in the famous experiment. As long as you don't open the box, the cat you put inside is immortal. There is no text here that says that the cat you put inside can't be you. I'm assuming that that's partially on purpose. With jumps that have things that are this incredibly powerful and potentially cheesable, I always tend to assume that at least some of it is on purpose. So if you're really creative, you can have a lot of fun with it. I'm assuming that if you have a cloning perk and you put yourself in cat form in this, you will be rendering yourself immortal, so long as you have a perk that makes it so that it requires all of your bodies being destroyed for you to experience a death, that kind of thing. Just a lot of fun. Cactus Cat Saloon is a cactus cat that at night will be a barman and who owns nearby cactus fields, which he uses to make mezcal. He will work for you, and you will get a case of tequila and mezcal every week. Very handy, very fun income item, as well as a neat way to experience a form of alcohol you may not be super familiar with, that kind of thing. Freya's cat-led chariot is a cart pulled by lynxes that can move between nearby dimensions. Norse mythology reference, that one I actually understood. Book of All Cats is the next one, and it is a fan-made book that contains all of the legends and tales about cats that exist in this world. It's a priceless treasure, a prophetic work, and a very good narrator. The book will always be able to give you good advice when you come across a dangerous cat, knowing how to survive even the most supernatural cats. This is extremely interesting if you want to complete the scenario that we will be talking about later on in this video, and just really handy. The next item is Wonderland, which gives you a corner of Wonderland, the nearby dimension that is featured in the Alice in Wonderland story, as well as a bunch of different works now. You will own a corner of it, which will give you all of the iconic places with or without the characters and objects associated with them as you wish. Golden Ball is a very interesting item. It's a golden ball attached to a string that's actually a person transformed by fairies. It is cursed. It is cursed into this form until two young girls take it home. But so long as it's in this form, it's a powerful magical object that can kill people in your field of vision by announcing their real name. There is a lot of really interesting stuff you could do with this. I do wonder how field of vision is intended by different presents to scale with perks that enhance your vision, such as if you are a Kryptonian or if you have something like perfect accuracy from generic lightning manipulation, which allows you to see everything in a setting. So I definitely think that there's ways to make this item truly terrifying and well worth the cost. We are now going to go ahead and move on to the Good Cat set of items. Two free items here, Puss in Boots Cosplay and Starry Gaze Pie, are very interesting, and in some cases, they kind of hit above their weights. Starry Gaze Pie is just a regular food item that you can get every evening as you are eating dinner. So that's just a fun little quality of life item for if you happen to like that particular food. But Puss in Boots Cosplay is very interesting. It gives you boots, hat, bag, and sword of Puss in Boots. The bag is bigger on the inside. The boots protect you from whatever you step on. And while the sword and hat are just decorations, there is a lot that you could do with what is effectively a baby version of the bag of holding from D&D and of boots that allow you to step on pretty much anything without negative effects, at least just from stepping on stuff. So that's a really interesting set of items. Starry Gaze pie is something that if you fulfill the conditions, you'll be able to get an additional boost to your food, just like some of the items from the drop-in set of items were. Wool balls is the first item that you would have to pay for if this is your origin. This is three little white cats that make lots of balls and other skeins of mainly white thread. These balls are great in and of themselves. If you have ideas for them, you could use them in a lot of ways. But if you use them to make clothes, you will be powerfully protected against fairy curses and fae power. And the magical effects used by fae that are negative and meant to hurt you will gradually be undone. Just a very, very interesting thing there. Magic herbs is the next item for good cats. It makes it so that every week you'll receive bags of magical herbs, including the ones used by Kisa to heal her sister. Definitely a reference I don't understand. And use this to get many other magical plants as well. This is a very useful set of items, and if you are a farming jumper or if you enjoy farming, even if you are not a farming specialist, there's definitely a lot you could use with this. The next item, which is the final 200 choice point item, is the beautiful pea green boat. This is a pretty boat. Inside, you'll find a 5-pound note every month, as well as some honey and plenty of money. This is just a nice little boat item. You could use this in a lot of cute ways. Silver tools is a set of silver tools and silver building materials. At first glance, you might think that this would be hard to use because of the material, but through fiat backing as well as the magic that this is almost certainly a specific reference to, you will be able to use this to create small houses. These miniatures aren't just pretty. After 3 days, they'll turn into a full-sized version of whatever you built, filled with gold and silver furniture, a very handy housing and potentially income item. You get another set every week. The next item, which is the final 400 choice points item for this origin, is an item with a name I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It is a temple that is where the place of the legend of the Maneki Neko originated. There are many objects here linked to them that can be sold here. Statues that bring good luck and various effects depending on their color, such as protection against evil spirits if you have one of the black statues, and fortune related to wealth for the gold ones. Additionally, several Maneki Neko cats live here and take care of various tasks. I'm assuming that you own this item. This is one of the property items in this particular jump where that is not explicit, but it seems with property items, most of the time, a property item like this, you own it by default, and thus you get profit from it. You could potentially use it as a housing place. The other housing items, the other housing and property items in this particular origin, it says that you own, which is part of the reason why I'm not entirely sure. It could just be that this is a place that follows you along your chain where you can buy these items and you can use them yourself. But if you own it, I'm assuming you could get some of the items for free and you also get the profits from the place. So, the White Cat. This is 6 magnificent kingdoms full of incomparable treasures and fairy objects, such as a wooden horse that can cross 500 places in 12 hours, a court filled with cats with incredible skills, the famous fairy garden where you can find all fruits in existence all year round, and, if you wish, the eponymous White Cat, a magnificent and erudite princess. This item is a property item that it says you own. It doesn't say that quite as explicitly as I would like, but saying you have definitely to me means you own it. Ulathar, which is a reference to a specific Lovecraft story set in the realm of the Dreamlands, where cats are characters that are helpful to visitors and are generally just homies for the most part, is a feudal town made up of merchants and farmers, and of course, an enormous number of cats. This town is considered to be one of the most pleasant places in the Dreamlands. The city is built on several hills that rise up from the banks of a river, surrounded by suburbs of small green cottages and neatly fenced townhouses. The center of the town is made up of pink buildings topped with old red tiled peak roofs, overhanging upper floors, and countless chimneys. This is just a town that, if you're not the leader of, you can at least live in, that follows you along your chain. I am assuming that you probably are the leader of this town, but it actually doesn't say that, so I misspoke when I was talking about the earlier item. I apologize for that. The final item in this origin is one that you do explicitly own. It is Cat Island. It is home to a large number of cats, both fishermen and cats, who raise silkworms for their textiles. The island is famous, and many tourists will come here. It has several villages, a sanctuary, as well as a museum filled with cat drawings made by each artist you meet and appreciate the work of along your chain. You'll also notice, no doubt thanks to the presence of many cats, that the place is extremely lucky, and you own the place and the cats who live there work for you. So this time, it is explicit about the fact that you own it. It says so word for word. Very cool. So now we are moving down to the bad cat set of items. Now in the final set of items, we are beginning the bad cat items with laser pointer and sorcery furniture. Both of those are free for bad cats. Laser pointer is a very deceptive laser pointer that causes those who see the light that it emits to be confused and to think that the light can be captured, which you can use to troll other people, especially if you're stealthy. And sorcery furniture is a sorcery set containing a broomstick, cauldron, manuals, and a host of ingredients for things like potion making and magic, all of which are packed into a small magic bag, which has enough stuff for all of your little magical mischief. This is a very handy item, especially if you took the perk in the Bad Cat set of perks that makes it so that you know how to do which style magic and can do all sorts of mischief with this. Kuroneko pancake is an unlimited supply of delicious pancakes and chapan, no doubt made with black cats, as the song goes, echoing all around you as you eat them. These are definitely references that I don't understand, but I think this time it might just be anime references instead of mythology references, although I might be wrong. Orobao Fisherman is a fishing business that you own. Weirdly enough, the fish that you get in this particular item are strange aquatic cats, and they're not at all delicious, which really stinks for fish from the perspective of a cat. This jump is playing against the idea that cats really like fish, that kind of thing. This is a really interesting item. I'm assuming in future jumps you still continue to catch at least some strange aquatic cats, and you could do a lot with that. You could potentially try to sell them or get them up for adoption. You could use them, especially if you can awaken cats, which is something that different perks in different jumps will allow you to do. I do plan to do a series on Edro Grimshell's jumps, many of which are generic class style jumps, including generic tamer, which includes a perk for awakening animals, which would allow you to make an animal much more intelligent and wise and give them what humans consider to be intelligence, that kind of thing. So that could be very interesting depending on perks you either have or get in the future. Cat Toast Engine is an item that gives you a perpetual motion engine. It gives you a cat that has been tied to a slice of toast with delicious marmalade. If you toss it around, you will see that it will spin endlessly. This can be used to power all sorts of things. That said, the cat is not immortal. You will get a new cat every week if the cat that you have dies. So this is something that could be used to power a lot of different technology if you're really clever about it, especially if you have a way of keeping the cat immortal, which there are ways to do even in this particular jump. The Space Black Galley is a black galley that can sail between the moon and the Dreamlands and into space. It even comes with a crew. You got it from Moon Beasts, which are characters and antagonists in the Dreamland Lovecraft story that has been referenced throughout this particular jump dock. You are if you got it from Moonbeast, maybe you're a trader in the service of the cats from Saturn, or maybe you got it in some other more mysterious way. If you think about how you get your items in terms of ways that make narrative sense, as opposed to just you pay choice points to get items and thus you have them. Which are two different approaches to doing things from jumps, especially as it relates to items. The final item in this origin is Crossroads. It is discounted for black cats. It is the capstone item. It makes it so that every night you can come here and countless wizards and supernatural cats will come to party. Everyone is very friendly with you, giving you advice or various gifts related to their legend. For example, the Metagots, the cats from one of the earlier perks, I believe in the drop-in tree, will give you a bag of gold coins, and the chicken buffet in here is delicious. This is a very interesting item. It has a lot of potential uses, especially as it relates to something we're about to talk about in a second, the scenario. Here is the companion section. This is super standard. Everything here is normal, although it's worth noting that you can get a canon companion for free. If you want a canon cat character as a companion and you convince them to come along with you, you will be able to do so, and they will be able to join you as companions that can be imported into future jumps. You'll even be able to obtain points doing this, which suggests that it's probably difficult to convince them to come along your journey unless you are very persuasive, because something like this is something that I've never seen in a jump doc other than in the jump docs in this series. It is very interesting that you can convince someone to join you for free and you can be rewarded for doing so. That feels like something that should be a scenario. So now we are going to go ahead and take a look at the scenarios. There are two in this. Yes, there are two in this jump. There is Saturnalian Cats Invade, and it makes it so that the cats from Saturn have come to conquer Earth, and you have to defeat them. They are aided by other supernatural creatures, such as the moon beasts, and everything here has a cat theme. If you defeat them somehow, you are able to get 2 extra origins on this jump dock, as well as recovering choice points and even getting more choice points. So this is something for if you really want to get as many perks as possible in a way that is jump chain legal and approved by the author. So if you don't want to do any sort of meta thing or mess with the settings of the jump dock in any particular way, this is a way of doing that. Additionally, you also get all sorts of cats as your friend. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Scenario number 2, which was visible over in the actual corner of the jump document, makes it so that you have got to capture every type of cryptid cat. Cryptids are rare even in this place, so if you have perks that reference cryptids, those abilities are rare even though they do exist in the canon of this particular setting. As your reward, you have proven that cryptids exist. You will gain the ability to make animals that are considered cryptids and other jumps real, albeit a bit rare. You get a wing of a museum containing live or stuffed versions of every species of bird you've ever seen. This text is a little interesting. I suspect that this possibly should be cat rather than bird, because there is a tale of birds jump doc as well, so it's possible that that is actually just sort of text that is not supposed to be there, although maybe the intention is for it to be bird. Who knows? You will also get 600 points to spend on the cryptid origin, which means again, this is definitely a reference to Jesus. It's really not easy to be sure because all 3 of these have cryptid things. It's probably a reference to bad cats, which in other jumps, the jump dock formulation tends to be drop in, animal tails. So in this case, it would be cat tails, and other jumps, it's like horse tails, and then cryptid or strange animal. So that's probably what that's a reference to. That said, you could just read it as it is. Here is a mostly blank page that contains the beginning of the drawbacks. As usual, be sure to remember that in addition to all of these drawbacks, there is also a universal drawback supplement, which contains a bunch of different drawbacks for if you want new stuff. Here is the decision section. There is no notes in this particular jump, so this is the end of the jump doc. I really enjoyed exploring this particular jump doc with you all. I am going to go ahead and end this video. I know this video is probably going to be longer than I would like, but it is worth it to show you all this particularly fantastic jump doc. I've really enjoyed talking about it, and I hope that you like seeing it and you go check out the links that will be in this video's description, so that way you can go and see all of the other Tales of jumps. Before we go any further, I definitely should mention that if you're thinking about checking them out, you should take them at their word if you have a phobia related to animals, because some of these jumps have perks that are definitely terrifying. There is a spider perk in the Tale of Spiders jump that even just thinking about it causes me to shudder. It is just terrifying, even though it's a fantastic perk. Just terrifying idea. That said, I'm going to go ahead and let everyone go. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I've enjoyed spending time with you. If you want to spend more time with me, feel free to leave a like on this video, feel free to comment, subscribe, and check out my other videos. Bye-bye, everyone.